Hello guys, welcome back to my channel Code with Anish. So in the last video we have developed the microservice, a Java microservice which return a list of employees, and we have tested the flow using the Postman. So there we passed the access token and tested whether it was able to return the employee successfully, or it is validating the token and restricting the invalid token. So now in today's video, we will create a web application to test this end-to-end flow. So using this web application, we can authenticate and get the user token and then call the microservice and see if it can return the employee list which we created in the previous video. So I have created a wireframe for this web page. I'll show you that first. So this is the wireframe. So basically it contains a login page and then sign up page. So login page contains a username and password where an already registered user come and enter the username and password and log in. Say also there is an option for sign in with Google. So here any user who have an Google email ID can come and click this option and then sign in. The flow and all I have explained in the user authentication service only how it flows. So just that flow will be implemented here using this sign in with Google option, Google button. Same way coming to the sign up page. This is for the new user to register the username and with the password and sign up here. Here also the same option for the Google is provided here, because even in the login page or sign in page, the Google user should have the option to sign in. So once successfully authenticated and he got the access token from this login page or sign up page, then the user should be navigated to a home page with that access token. So in that home page, it should display the username and the roles. This too is present in the authentication token which we received. So from that we can decode and display here. And there should be a button called fetch employees. This fetch employees, on clicking this button, should call the demo microservice which we created in the previous video. So we should call that demo microservice, which should return the employee list as we have seen in the previous video. And that employee list should be displayed here in this home page. So this is what we are going to develop. So to develop this front-end application, I'm going to use Angular technology. So in the Angular, I use the TypeScript only. So let's see how we can create this application using the Angular. Okay, so to create an Angular project, we basically need the Node package manager and the and the Node.js. Node package manager is called npm and the Node.js, so that we can download from the Google and install in our machine. Post installing the npm and Node.js, we have to install Angular client. So in my machine, I have installed the Angular client version 17. So post installing the Angular client, then we can create a new Angular project. To create a new Angular project, you have to type ng. Ng stands for the Angular client, and I am using Angular client version 17. So ng, then the command new is to create a new project. So we can give the project name as UI for microservice security. So just like UI hyphen microservice security. Okay, and then click enter. It will take some time to download the libraries and create the project. Okay, the project has been created successfully. Now to further develop this project, we will use an IDE or a tool. So basically the Angular project or even any JavaScript project, I use Visual Studio Code. So let's open this project in the Visual Studio Code to develop further. So this is the Visual Studio Code, and here you can see some options. So here you have to click the open folder option to open that project which we just created recently. So click on the open folder button and select that project. Okay, I have opened the project in the Visual Studio Code. So you can see all the required libraries have been downloaded here, and then the package.json, which will show the dependencies. And yeah, it has created the project skeleton also with our component and all. So maybe before starting the development, I'll just give an explanation how the Angular project works. So basically I am using the NgRx library for Angular to develop this application. So let me explain what is NgRx. So NgRx library. So NgRx library is inspired by the Redux pattern. So what is Redux pattern? Redux pattern in a JavaScript application is nothing. In any JavaScript application, state management is of very high priority. The state management is nothing. For example, whenever you open a web page, for example, you are opening a shopping cart. So there you may add the product, then check out the product, and also whenever you do this, the state is changing. For example, when you add one product to your cart, you are changing the state from 0 product to 1 product. So this is a state. So the Angular or the web application has to manage it. So this is done using the state management, and JavaScript provide a Redux library to do this. So this now coming to Angular. Angular is inspired by this. Angular NgRx is inspired by this Redux pattern. And how it works is, so basically we have the component part. So the component is nothing, which is the web page which we see. So that we define as a component in the Angular. So from the component part, what we do is whenever we need to change a state, or whenever we are doing some operation, right? When we do some operation, only the state gets changes. So what we do is we call something called action. So that is another part of this NgRx, from action. So from action, it in turn call two other things. So one is an effect, and another is a reducer. So from when component calls action, action in turn calls two other parts, which is effect and reducer. So basically effect is nothing. Effect is where we call our service layer. So service layer is nothing, which will in turn call the API, backend API. For example, in our case, it is where we call our employee service. So this API, and on calling this API, it will return a response back to the service, and service in turn will give back to the effect from where it is called. So same way reducer. So reducer is which in turn manages the state. State is managed in a tree object called store. So again, I'm saying from the action, it will call effect and reducer. So I called one action, for example, assume, and fetch an employee action. So it will in turn call effect, and that will go to the backend layer. Same way, when the employee action is called, fetch employee action, a reducer is also called to change the state. What should it do? Same way, when the backend API returns a response to the effect again will, from the effect again, it will call a success action. So fetch action and a success action. Success action is where, because this is a place where we return the employee list, right? So that will again call an action. So what this action will do? This action will again call the reducer. So reducer will now change the store. So once the store is changed, from the store, it will call selector. So, or we can say that in the store, the state is changed. Now using the selector, the component will fetch the state. So component is again the front end web page where we displays the values. So this is how the flow is. So component action in turn will go to two places, effect and reducer. So from the reducer, the value will be stored in the store, and from the store, using the selector, component will fetch that value and display the value in the component. So that is a circular flow. From here, the action is triggered, and finally using the selector, the component will get the new value from the store, and the store values are changed using the reducer. And effect is just to call the service, and on returning the response, again call an action, which in turn call a reducer to change the store management. So this is how, in a nutshell, the working of an Angular NgRx framework. So we will implement the same library here to call our demo service and our login authentication service as well. So for that, now we have to install that library as well. So that library comes with two dependencies called store and effect. So let's install that. So npm I at ngrx store. First we'll install the store library. So it's at NgRx store. Okay, so you can see the store dependency has been added. So now same way we have to add the effect library. Okay, so effects also got added. So now we got the NgRx library to continue with our project. So now what we need is an module. So we'll go to cd source, then the app folder. So this is a folder where all our files are there, our TS TypeScript files are there. So now what we need is to create a module. So the skeleton structure of an Angular application is it should contain a module. Module will be a routing module. So each routing module can in turn call another submodules, and inside that modules we will have component. So component, as we seen here, we will have component, and then the action, then we have effects, or we will say effects, anything effect, then the service, then we have reducer and the selector. So reducer store is something which is already a tree object structure, so that we don't want to. When by using the reducer only we will store it, and using the selector we get the value from the store. So this should be added here. So now first we'll generate a module. So ng generate module, and we give the module name as app only, and we give an option as routing. So because we need a routing module, routing is used to route whenever we enter a page in the URL, it has to route to the appropriate component. So for that only we are using the routing. Okay, so now we have an app module, routing module set it here. Okay, unfortunately it's created inside the app folder only, so we don't need, we'll just keep it outside only. Move here and move the module here. Okay, so we just need to run, actually we need to just run here in the source folder only to create the routing, then it should have created inside this. Okay, anyway, no issues, we just delete it. So we have the app module and the app routing module created here. And now coming here, we have the app component, so which is already created as part when we created the project itself. So here we will make some changes to the existing thing. We give selector as app root only, but it is not a standalone because this will be added in the module only. So here, and template, let it be a component, and this style URL. Okay, app component name is UI Microservices. So now since we remove the standalone, we have to add this component inside this app module. So here we will add in the declarations app component. Okay, that's fine now. And now we're coming to the app component again. We don't need a specific template and CS for app component. We'll delete these two things. Yeah, and in the app component, what we can do is instead of template URL, we can give us template only. The style is also not required. And here we will define router outlet. So this one. So now how it works is, if you come to the index.html, this is the the main HTML page which will be loaded first, and inside here it will call this app root. So app root is nothing. If you come to the app modular, you can see, app component, you can see the, there is an app component. Yeah, you can see the selector as app root. So this is what we defined in the index.html. So index.html will load the app component, and the app component in turn load router outlet. Router outlet is the input router, router page or the router HTML side of the router side. So this will in turn load the router. So now we have to define the router. So coming to the app router module, we have to define the routes here. Okay. So my first route will be, so first we have to develop this page, login page. So what I'm planning is I will create only one component which will contain both this page, and here you can see this, there is an option called sign up and login. This is because if it is not a member, when you click this sign up option, it should show the sign up page, and same way in the sign up page, when you click this login, it should show like a toggle button, it should show this sign up. So what we can create both this in one component, and with this sign up and login we can toggle between these two these two form. Okay, so first we will create this thing. So what we can do is we can give the path name here as an auth here. Okay, path is auth as auth, path is auth here. So now what we need is an component for this page. We will create a component for this page. We can create a folder like NgRx component. Okay, so we created a component, and we'll go to the component. Okay, it's inside here we can generate the auth component. So we'll say ng generate component, and the component name we can give us auth. Okay, so it has created a component, and inside that there is, it created a folder auth and grouped the component here. So it has a component.html and a component TypeScript also. So here also it has put a standalone, so no, it should be part of our main module, so we'll remove that. Okay, and now we will come and add that in the declaration. Auth component, file save. So now we have the auth component TypeScript and we have the auth component HTML. So now in this auth component HTML we have to, what do you say, write the code for this page. So basically write a HTML page here. Okay, so what we need, first we need an username password or username password confirm. Okay, first we will go with the login page. Okay, so we'll create a div, we'll create input, and we have a form. We have to create a form here. So input type is equal to, it's a text, placeholder is equal to username. And here also input type is equal to password, and placeholder is equal to password. Okay, and then what? Then we need a button. So a button, login button. Login. Okay, type is equal to submit. Fine. Or you can take this away. I'll save all. In the app routing module, we have to define the component here, and it should be component. Yeah. So then only in the page, in the URL, if we give a /auth, it should route to this auth component. And auth component, it's app auth component. Okay, fine. So let's start and see if it is working or not. So npm start. Okay, router has verified that it is the part of this module. Okay, why? So we need to make some changes to make it work to because there is an error coming because we haven't added the module properly. One thing is we have to add the browser module here, and then we have to add the bootstrap as this app because this apps component is what bootstrap to the index.html. So we have to add that, and then coming to this main.ts. So here we have to add, it is a platform browser dynamic, this library. So since we added this library only, we are adding in the app routing module, sorry, app module, this module also, browser module also. So in the main it will come here, so it will bootstrap this thing, app module, bootstrap app module. In the app module, if you go, it instant bootstrap app component, and app component will load the page. And then if you start, it should start here. And now if you open this page, okay, the page is loaded, nothing comes here because we don't have anything in the root folder, root path. So what we have is in the auth. But its auth is not displaying anything. Yes, we have to change it. We should give only as auth here. Yeah, and we have to change here to the router module to for root instead of for child, because this is the root module which we are using. So this routes belongs to the root only, not for the child. Child is used for the sub modules. So now on starting, we can see the username, password, login. So this is what we develop here. Now we have to change this as shown here. We have to make like this, username, password, and login. Okay, so we will add some styles to it to bring like this. Open the style sheet. Okay, let me close others. So style and HTML, yeah, these 2 pages enough. So first we will add this to a class. So we create as class name as auth4. So what we need is we have to bring this to middle here, and then align this down, right? Okay, so to bring it down, and it should occupy a little in the middle. It should not occupy the full page. So for that, we first specify the width of this form. Width, let it be some 20%. Now margin, does auto. So by putting auto, it will automatically align all that the element which is defined by this class to the center. Okay, so let's add this here. So in the div, we can give classes. What was that? Auth user form, right? This one, auth form. Okay, now let's save and see if it is bringing it to the center. Okay, so at least it bring it to the center. Okay, now what we can do is for the inputs. So what our input we defined here, let's make the width as 100%. Some padding, some 10 pixel and 5 pixel, and some margin, so that there will be a margin between this. And a border, that will be 1px solid, and box sizing. Okay, and for button, make width as 100%. Okay, let's save this and see if at least it got some shape. Okay, So username, password, button. Yeah, now we have to add some button to margin, and button should also come to the center. Yeah, it should be 100%. Align to center. Okay. So here text align center. Okay, so it has come here. Yeah, it should not be button, should not be class, it should be the element. Okay, now if you come here, yeah, button also. Now we have to add some margin and bring it down. Margin 25. Top side, so remaining one you can put 0. I need to add a color, a blue color to the button. Okay. Okay, blue color is ready. Okay, and little bit padding and a border also. So giving color as white, so the test color will be white here, and padding also. So there will be enough padding here. And now border radius. Give us 4 px. Okay. Also give border as none so that the black border can be removed. Okay, so the black border is removed. So now hit almost login, username, password. Fine. Now margin auto being center. I want some top margin also because it is really to the top of the screen. So I will add some 100 px here. Yeah, no comma. Okay, so this much is fine. So what component we have form. Now what we need this thing, not a member sign up, or it should be toggle between these 2 pages, sign in and login. Give a p element here. Not a member. Not a member. Use hash. Okay, so we got almost like this, not a member, sign up. We'll handle the action later. So this is ready. Now we need the sign up page, username, password, and confirm password. So again a form here. We can use the same input, and only thing what we need is one more input type, which is confirm password. Type is equal to password and placeholder is equal to confirm password, firm password, and submit is equal to sign up, and here it's already a member. Then we have to give login. Small case. If you come here, yeah, so we got the sign up page and the login page. Now we have to create a toggle between the sign up. So when the page is loaded, we should show this login side, and when the user click sign up, we should hide this and show this one. Okay, so for that now we need a variable to do this. So we will go to the class here in the auth component. We'll declare a variable hide login. First we have to show the login, so hide login is false. And now what we can do is, in this form we can keep hidden, then is equal to hide login. Okay, so hide login is equal to false, and here it should be the opposite of that. It should be not hidden. Okay, so now if we save and load this page, sorry, okay, file, save all. Okay, so now when we come here in the loading of the page, only the login is shown. So now we have to handle, when we click up this should hide and the sign up page should show. So how we can do is, here in this ahref we should do that. So here we have to give click on click is equal to, what is that, hide login is equal to true. Okay, so that it will hide and its opposite will come up. And also what we have to do is we have to prevent, because we have given the href as hash, so it will change the page URL. So we have to handle that e.prevent default. So $event.prevent default will not navigate to the hash, because if you didn't give this href, that blue icon will not come. So that's we have given as href, but we will prevent this changing of the reference by prevent default. Only on clicking of this button, it will just change this boolean only, so that we can toggle between this and that. Same way we have to bring here also. So here it's just the opposite. Hide login is equal to false and even false. Okay, now we'll say, okay, now come here. When we click sign up, yeah, it should show the sign up page. Login, it should show the login. Fine, so that we have made it. This sign in with Google option is there, but this thing we will develop at the end, as this requires some other extra configuration also. We have to create a project in our Google site to bring this thing, so maybe we will bring this later. So first we will complete this flow, the login and sign up flow. Now let's come to the auth component.ts. Now we should get the values of this form inside our class file. So for that, first we have to create a constructor. Okay, and then we need to inject a form builder. So form builder, it's private. So form builder, and also coming to the app module, we have to import a module, reactive form module. So we'll save it. Now coming to that component.ts form module. Yeah, so now we will create a login form here. Login form. This dot form builder dot group. Okay, so this form name we have to give to the here login. So login is form group is equal to login form. Okay, yeah. So we come here and we have to now define the values given there for that input. So one is username, okay, and another is password. Okay, so this is username and this password. So now what we have to give is we have to go back to the HTML here and we have to give this form control name. Form control name is equal to this one, username. Yeah, so this will be injected to that whatever we defined there. The same way here, form control name is equal to password. Okay, so now coming back to the TS, yeah, so class login form user. Now the thing is we can add validators. That username and our password are mandatory. So what we can do is we can add the validator here. So it will be like validators, it's here, dot required. Same for here also password. So that's fine. Now the login form is ready. So whatever we enter here, it will get validated and also assigned to these variables. Same way now we have sign up form. Into this dot form builder dot group. So here also what we need username, password, and there is one more field there which is confirm password. This also is so now we will add this form name here. So here we'll add to the form group form, and now the form control name. So this is how the values from the HTML, the values are the form values are mapped to the form we defined inside the TypeScript. So here it is password. It's password, right? It's password and confirm password. Okay, fine. So now here, apart from making all this value mandatory, we also need to check this password and confirm password should be same. Correct. It should be same. This we have put to make sure the user will enter the correct password. He's not entering a password by accident. He's entering the correct password, which he can, because when he enters the password, it will be hidden. He cannot see what he's entering. To avoid that error only we are using, so that we should do a validation that both should be same. So to do that, we'll come here. We have to bring validate is here. So we add a custom validator. So here what it is saying is this control value, this confirm password. If it is present, means only if the user enter the confirm password, then only this validation should take place. If it is empty, don't do this validation. If it is present and if this is equal to this password, well, don't do anything. It is valid. If it is not there, set a variable as password no match is equal to 2. Now we will use this variable there to display the error to the user. Okay, so we'll save it here. So for that, what we do is we come to the HTML. We will do one thing. We'll just create a span here. So here, and we will enter password does not match. Does not match. Okay, and this should be shown only. We'll add an NgIf condition when this sign up form dot errors dot, what was the error? The error is this one. If this is present, if this is true, this will become true when this confirm password and password is not equal. Yeah. At that time only show this this password match, because sign up form dot errors can be null. If it is null, this will not come. This will result in other errors. So what we have to do is we have to put a question mark, so that only if it is not null, this will be executed. So not null, and if we put that, what we have to do is we have to put this inside single quotes. Okay, so if sign up form contains some error, and if that error is password no match, that's a boolean is true, then show this error. And this will be shown when the user enter a confirm password which is not equal to the password, then only this error will be done. Okay, so that is done. Now what we have the this thing, and also maybe we will disable the button if the form is not valid. The form is not valid when the username is empty, password is empty, or password not equal confirm. Same way in the login form, username is empty or password empty, it is not empty. So what we do is we will disable this when it is disabled. So in this case, sign up form dot invalid. If it is invalid, then disable. Same way here, it will be disabled when login form is invalid. So that the user will not have an option to click that button. Login form is invalid. Also, since the button is disabled, we will add some more style to the button. So here we have the button, and yeah, we will add this to styles also. Means enabled, we will change the opacity, because when it is enabled, the user moves the cursor towards the button, the opacity reduces. Means the color will just little bit differ, so that user can understand it is enabled and he's hovering over it. Disabled, in this case, our case, when it is disabled when that form is invalid. So cursor not enabled. When he move the cursor will be disabled there, so that he cannot click it. And we can give cursor as pointer. Yeah, means when he moves the cursor to the button, it will be a pointer there. Okay, so with this style, we can make more user interactive. He can aware that when is the form valid or invalid. Fine, so that's done for our component TS. and they're coming to the HTML. Yeah, now enabled, disabled. Yeah. Now we have to make action here. So this is form. So this is ng submit. So what should be done when we submit this? When we submit this, we should call an action. So maybe coming here, we'll call two methods here on login submit. Okay, and on sign up submit. Fine. So that's done here, and now coming to this HTML, we should call on, this is on login submit. So when the button is clicked, its type is submit, so it will call a submit action of the form. Submit action is nothing, call this method. Same way here also, ng submit. What is it? On sign up submit. This in turn called the sign up submit method. Okay, and that's all. So file, I will save everything. Now what we want when the, so we are almost close to our actions, right? So we have a login action and a sign. So as I told in the beginning, Angular NgRx works based on some flow, which is like component will call an action, action will in turn call an effect, effect will call a service. The same action will also be called in a reducer. Reducer will only change the state or change the value in the store. Store is where the state is maintained. There it will change it. So now our flow is like from here an action should be called action, it should be in turn called by an effect, and effect should call the service. And once the service return the result from that effect, it should call another success action so that whatever value we receive, we can change in the store. Okay, so what we need an action, we need an effect, and we need a service to call the API at first. So maybe we'll create the service first because that is the last thing. So from there only we can build up the effect, action and all that. Okay, so we will create a service first. So service will come here. We'll just create a folder, service. Okay, and here what I will create OAuth.service, OAuth.service.ts. Okay, so it is a class basically. So export class auth service, and we should give an @injectable annotation here. This is because if we want, so this service will be injected here, and whatever we define the constructor, that values, that classes also get injected in the constructor. So we do constructor, and now we can inject anything here. Now this is added to this will be injected automatically. Fine, means by the framework. Now we define our service that should be added to the app module. So app module, the services are added not in imports or declaration. Declaration is for the components, imports for the modules, and services should be in the providers. Okay, so here we will have auth service. Okay, on comp. Fine, so that's all. So now auth service constructed. So what we need login and sign up. So to do login and sign up, what we need a request to be sent to our backend authentication service, and it return a response. So if you remember, the request contains a username and password. Maybe we create a class or an interface to send this data. So maybe we'll create a folder like data, and inside that data we create another folder like request. Inside the request we can create a class, or it should be interface like auth request.ts. That's good. Okay, so it should be an interface because it contains two variables, username and password, and say auth request, and here what all we need? We need a username string and password string. Fine. Same way we need another response also. So we'll create a new folder, response, and this response will be auth.response. This is what we receive from our user authentication service. And here also we make it as export, another interface, export interface auth response. And here what we get from back from this authentication, an access token. So perfect. So that's all. File save all. Now coming back to our service layer. First do login. So here we expect a request, which is nothing but the auth request. And now to call a web service, backend web service, we need a HTTP client. So we will inject that here, or we will declare here, so that the framework will inject that class here. So private HTTP client, it's from HTTP client. Okay, but to use the HTTP client, we have to add the module, HTTP module. We import it here. So HTTP client module. Fine. Application service HTTP this dot HTTP client dot. So as you remember, and we have to give the URL. URL is HTTP localhost, and user authentication service runs in 8081 port, and then it is auth login. This was our URL, and then the request. Okay, and we have to return this. So a HTTP call response is always an observable because it's asynchronous. So we will give observable of what? When we do this login, we get the access token, which is stored here in our front end, the auth response. So auth response. So it's observable. Fine. Now we have to return this, and we have to parameterize this post call. So it is auth response. So this will in turn return an observable of auth response. Fine. Now the same way do for sign in. Do sign up. So here it is sign in. That is our URL. Remaining everything is same. Request is same. The response is also same. Only the URL is different. So we have our do login service and do sign up service, sign up and login service. So we created, and we will get an observable response. Now what we need? We need an effect, and effect is invoked by an action. So we will create now an action. So folder, and create this as action. So we can pack every action inside this folder. We'll create a new file. What is it? Auth action. Action. So here action is nothing. It's then constant. We'll say login action is equal to create action. Yeah, it's from the NgRx store library. Create action. So we have to give an action name and properties of that action. Props. Okay, so action name we can give as login action. Okay, or why should we say action? Login. So login is the action, and props is the request. So it's obviously a request, and here, so no, here it should be auth request. Okay, so request is of type auth request. That's we expect in the login action. Same way we have the sign up action. Sign up action. So here, yeah, here it's important. This is the name of the action. So you should change name it correctly. This is because if I use same login name here, what happening is if I use this action, if I call this action from the component, since this both name are same, this the effect associated to this action and this action will also get invoked. So make sure this name is kept as unique. So this is sign up action. Okay, now both this login and sign up action in turn return only, as you see in the service layer, same authentication response, right? In the service layer, same response. So maybe to handle that response, we can create a single action only, which I will say as, let's put constant authentication success action, right? Authentication success action. So that will be create action or auth success. So should I write for auth success action? So create action, and here we will give this is auth success. Auth success. Like this. And now the props. So if it is a success action, what we need, if the login is successful, we just need to navigate to a different page. We don't want to change any state of the same authentication page. We don't want to do any change, any state, correct? We just want to log into the new page. So in that case, we don't need a props. So that's, we give only the name there. And now we will also handle the error case. For example, there can be cases, there are cases where the response can error out due to, for example, when the user try to log in with an username which is not there, we will get an error that user does not exist. Same way when the sign up user try to sign up with this already existing username, we will say user exists. These are the errors. So to handle that, we will say auth error action. So in this case, we will give the action name as error, and here obviously we need a props to handle, because in this case we have to display that error message in the front end. So for that we need to change the state. So obviously we have to give the props as an string. So props request. So we can define this as response, not as request. And I will give any here. It can be any, not string also, maybe a JSON object also, whatever it is. So I'll just mark it as any. Okay, so now we handle the login action. So now we define login action, sign up action, and the response action, like if you get success, we don't need to change the states. That's why there is no props, only we just need to handle that action only accordingly. And the error means we have to change the props. So we have to change the state. So we are returning that error in the props, and that will be handled by the receiver and intent to the store. Okay, so that's fine. Now from the action, effect will, for the appropriation, it should call the service. So now we need an effect. So new folder, effect. So in that effect, what we create, new file auth.effect .ts. So this is again a class here, export class, and this what class, what I will name as auth effect. And yeah, this also has to be now annotated with at injectable. Okay, so injectable, as I told earlier, in the constructor, if you want to import any library here, we need to injectable, then only the framework can inject that. And also this auth effect, we have to add in the module. This is an effect library, so it's part of effect library, I will say. So then we have to add here, so it should be added as in the effect module. Okay, so we added here effect module, and we added in the root only because this app module is root module. So in that, the effect, this effect belongs to the root. So that's it. So add effect is ready. So constructor is ready. So So now to create effect, we need action. So what I do is private action and actions. I will say actions. It's from the effect here. So here I define this action. At the action I add a dollar because this action is an observable. Observable in Angular, we define the variable with an end dollar sign. And also we need our auth service also. So auth service, because from this effect we call the service. Okay, so this is done. Now we'll create an effect. We will give a name there, login effect. Login effect, this is also create effect, is also an observable. So create effect. So create effect inside this lambda function. Okay, so there what I will do is call create effect, then this action dollar dot pipe. Okay, so this is this lambda function. This should return an observable of action which is stored in the login effect. So this action dot pipe, why we pipe? Because we have to do multiple operations, so that's only we will pipe. So first, what is it? Of type. We got this action, so of type, so we should check which action is it. So our action is, first one is login action. We can handle the login action. Yeah, so login action, if it is of type login action, comma, what should we do? We should map the action, so we get an action here. Okay, and that action we should get the request. So sorry, it's map. Yeah, so map is what? Map converts one form to another. So here of type will give an action, so that action is passed as the input, and from that action we are fetching only the request. Request is nothing, this one, the auth request, which contains the username and password. Okay, and then what we do, we create a merge map. We create merge map because we have to call one operation, the response of one operation to another operation. So here the merge map, what we get is we get the request, because from this map we got the request. That request will be passed to the next operator merge map. So request, so request, what we do, so now we found out that action is logged in action, just do a transformation to get the request only. But our ultimate funda is, if it is login action, we should call the login API, so which is there in the auth service, which we defined little bit earlier. So auth service dot do login, and login expects what? Authentication request, which we got it here. So that's only we put a map in between, so we got it. So now do login, what does it return? It return an observable of authentication response. So that what we do, we will call a pipe. Yeah, it should be this, always this. Okay, fine. This we will again call pipe, because again we want to call multiple operations. So what? So on calling this observable, as I told earlier, it can give a success response as well as a error response. So first, now we will handle the success response. So map, we got the response, and what it has to return is an observable action. That's what we have to return. So response, so this is a success case. So success case means what I will return? I will return, no, I don't write return, I should give auth success action. Give auth success action. Okay, yeah. Also, if this is a pipe, right? So if there is an error, that should be also handled. So we will give catch error. So error will come, and what? So in that case, we have to return. So this map will transform response to auth success action. But here, since we have to give an observable, we have to define an off here. Yes, off, and what? Auth error action. Yeah. Both success not OAuth error action. In that error action, what is required? We require the response. Yeah, response should be an error. So this error, so how it comes from the backend is, this will be the main object. Inside that we'll have a wrapper object called error. That error contain a variable called error message, which is actual our, if you remember our user service, we set an error message in a variable called error message. So that will be wrapped in an error class. This error is the HTTP error. So HTTP error, the body is error. Inside the body, we get error message. Okay, so this will be set to the authentication auth error action. So maybe we will do something here, something tricky here. We will handle this instead of just using the lambda transformation, and we can do like this. We have to return this, and for time being we will put a console.log and see what is the response. Okay. So we can see what is the response here, but we are not doing any state change with the response. Let's see on the continuing developing, we'll see what has to be handled. Okay, so this is for login effect. Same way now we have to create for the sign up effect. So login effect, I'll change this name to sign up effect. So only change here we have to do is, instead of do login, instead of login action, this should be sign up action. So this, if the sign up action is called from the component, this part should invoke. If login action is called, this part should invoke. So here and here, do sign up. Okay, then remaining is same. This also will handle auth success action and auth error action. Okay, so our save all effect is ready for both these actions. So we handle 4 actions. One is the login action and its corresponding success action, and sign up action and corresponding success action, as well as the error action. So 4: login, success, error, and sign up. Both success and error is same for both the login and the sign up effect. Okay, so that's ready with the effect side. So now we come to our component back, or dot component ts. So here now we have to handle it. So whenever the user click that submit button for login or the sign up button, now we have to invoke this action. So to invoke this action, we need the store library. So for that we come here, private store, and we have to import this library store. Yes. In component we are not using that injectable because we are already using a notation called component, so it will in turn take care of the injectable also. Okay, so now store, what we have to do. Here I will again put one more condition here to make it, if this dot, this is login, right? So login form dot valid. If it is valid only, call this, else alert, give an alert, invalid form. It will not come as the button is visible, but still, in any case, if it comes, just to handle that, just to make the user aware that API is not called because the form is not valid. Same way here also, we'll put here, this is sign up form. Okay, and now we have to call this dot store dot dispatch. So this dispatch method will only invoke the action. So here we have to give the action. So what is the action we have to call here? Login action. So login action consists of request param. Okay, there what we have to do, we have to give the auth request. So let's say let auth request is equal to what? Auth request contain username and password. So username, from where I can get from the login form, this dot login form dot name, same way here, it should be password. Okay, and this should be us auth request. Okay, now we can use this here. Fine. So same way for the sign up submit, this should be sign up action, and this should be sign up form. Here also sign up form. So in both the requests we are sending username and password only. So this will call the sign up action. If you click that submit button, if you click the login button, it will call the login action. Login action are handled in the effects which we created. So if it is login action, you call the service do login, which in turn will call our web API. And if it is sign up, you call the sign up method of our service, which in turn will call our sign in web API. Okay, so that's fine. Now to handle the data, the state management, we'll create a folder like reduces. So this is where the data management is done. Let's say like that. So here, new file auth dot reducer. Auth dot reducer dot ts. Okay. So we in a reduces we need an initial state of that component. So maybe initial state. So here if you see from our action, from our effect, only thing we are using the state is an error only, because we are not, as I told earlier, token we will handle separately, because once it is authenticated successful, we don't even want to stay in that page. We have to go to the home page. So no need of maintaining state. So only thing which we handle is the error. Whenever there is an error, that in the page we have to display accordingly the error. So what we can do is we can create one more folder here like state, where we can define state of each pages which we are using. Okay, so new file and define as auth state. Okay, yeah. So here I will give export. It should be an interface only again. Whatever. Okay. Oh, I didn't. Okay, sorry, I renamed wrongly. Rename, it should be auth dot state dot ts. Okay, and yeah, here it will be auth state. The only thing we have is an error, and this should be of any, or a string or anything. It can be any type. Okay. So now we come here to the reduces. So we will create an constant name as initial state. Initial state to define error as first, let it be empty. Now we create the reducer. That should be also a constant. Export constant auth reducer. We have to call the create reducer from the NgRx tool. So create reducer. Here first we'll inject initial state. Okay, now we have to listen, or for whatever the action which we called from the component. Effect is called and reducer is also called. So on what all action, what should be done to the state. So here what we do is on first action is login action. So on login action, so state so what meaning is, when the login action is called, that will be the initial. When the user comes to the front end called login action, what we do is we will maintain whatever existing state as it is only. So whatever state is written, let it be there. But what we should, if there is any error before that, so obviously now we have only error, but we just give this because in case in future someone if we want to add some more state management, some more variable here, it should not create any impact here. So that's only. So whatever state is there, let it be like that only, even including error also. Now out of that, whatever we want to change as part of an action, we'll put here. So in that error, what we do is when the login action is clicked, reset it, no error, because user, for example, user try to log in with the username and password which does not exist. So we get an error saying that user does not exist. Now he enter with the actual username and click that login again. So at that time this state should change. This error message displayed on the screen should change. So that will be taken care by here, because we are changing the error to empty, so that the state will get changed. Whatever error displayed in the screen will also go off. So that's the purpose we are doing like this. And this I told earlier, whatever, if now we have only error saying again, but in future if you're adding something, that should not get impacted, because we only want to change the error, other variable, let it be remain like that, then this will take care of that. Okay, so that is for on login action. Now the next what? Sign up action. On same way, it also behaves the same way, nothing different. Okay, sign up action. Now on auth success action. So on auth success action also same way, if there is any error here, because here and all we are not playing much with the state, so let it be like that only. So only place where the state change is when we get an auth error, we have to display the error, and earlier the error state will be empty there, we have to add that error accordingly. Auth error action, then in that case what we do is error is equal to, so not just the state, from this action we will get the error also. Sorry, here we will give that error. It was not error, in that we have to define same variable name we have given here, it's response. So response is nothing, it's error, so that will be an error. Yeah, it's like that. So state, the existing state, this is what we received from the action. So that was changed by what? The effect. Effect has made the change to the property of the action, and that changed value is handled by the reducer here. So existing state, let it be like that, and error will be the new error, what has come from here, this one, whatever we are setting here, that will be handled here. Okay, so this is our state. So now if an error action is called from the effect, the state will change, the state will set in the store, the error variable will be set to this message what we received from there. And now we can use the component using a selector to display that. Okay, so now we have to create a selector. We'll create one more folder, selector. Okay, and here we will give auth selector .ts. Okay, so export constant auth selector equal to create feature selector, and we give a name for this feature selector as auth state. Just give us auth state, because this is used to select the state of the auth, this auth selector. Okay, so file, save all. So now we have a selector which will be used in the component to fetch the state, and the state is changed by the reducer. And here only what we seen is and new state is added only in the error action, otherwise we just set the error to empty, a new error is added in the case of an error action. Okay, so that we have set here, and this is changed where by the effect. This error action is changed by the effect. Login sign up is called from the component. These two actions are invoked from the effect. So that's how the flow. If you can correlate what I said in the beginning, you'll get an understanding how this NgRx work now. That's fine. Now we have to add this reducer in the app module. So here if you see, I am adding this reducer in a name called auth status, which is nothing, which is the selector name we have defined here. So the selector is auth state, so that corresponds to the reducer, auth reducer. So that's what does this mean. If you didn't give that, it will fail. It will say that there is no state for the selector for the reducer. So I am given as auth state, or any some meaningful name you can give. You can give selector also. Just give us auth state, because it is selecting the state of authenticator. So I am just giving us auth state or auth state selector. You can say like that. So this is how it is linked. Reducer is also linked to the module. So now this app module knows that it has an effect auth effect and a reducer auth reducer. Okay. Now we have to in the flow. We have specified the state is changed during the error. Now we have to handle the error in the component, because whenever the user click the login or this action sign up thing, if there is any error come, we should show that error in the UI component. So we'll come here in the authority component is TS. We have to handle the error. For that we should use the select and get the state. Okay, so first we'll declare the state variable. So we can say as auth state, and the state is always, this is also an observable. Okay, like observable of what? Auth state, which we have defined, auth state. Okay, and we can define this value in the constructor. So this dot auth state equal to what we need. We should select the selector. So store dot select. So what is our selector? Auth selector. Auth selector. Here what we have to do is, here when we give, we have to parameterize this. We should say auth state. Okay, so that's how we are linking this selector is linked to this auth state. This is a name, just a name for the module to understand what is the corresponding reducer of this selector as seen in the module, and what is the value, the state data type is associated is given as a parameterization. Now if we come to the auth component, yeah, it should have. So now this auth state, whenever there is a change in that, this we can use this value to get it accordingly. Okay, so this auth state contains a state. This is so now from the component, using the selector, we are able to get the state value of that component or that UI. Now what we want, we need to handle this in our UI page. Whenever there is an error, we should display that error message here. So for that, I am not going very detailed into it. I'm just printing a paragraph only if any error comes just below the form. So when I log in, as you know, we have either login form or sign up form. Just below the form, if any error is come, we'll just print that. So I just give div, okay, and p. Okay, and this, when should I print this? Ngif auth state. So this is an observable, as I told. So to get the observable value in the HTML side, we should use async. Okay, and what? Not the value is present, not this state is present. If this state contains what? Error, yes. If an error is present, then only, if an error is present, then only show this error message. And here what will we give? We should give this thing. If this error is present, then gives. Maybe we will add one class also here, so that class nothing, just to display and in red color, so that visually it will be understandable. So we give a class name as error message. Okay, and define this class name where inside the CSS. So here will come dot error message. Okay, so file save all. So what does that mean? When you come to the component HTML, if the auth state contain an error, show that. For example, in the beginning when the user come into the login button, as you saw, the error initial state is empty, which is where we have set in the reducer. The initial state is error is empty. So user come to the HTML, click the login button with an non-existing user. What will happen from the effect which intent called their login here? This here it will be caught because our backend will send an error saying that user does not exist. So that error message is set in the response of auth error action. This auth error action is handled here, and that response is intent set to the state management error, which is nothing, which will come to the HTML here, this error. So on setting there in the HTML page, will understand, yeah, the auth state has changed, the error has got a value. So this ngf if will become true, and this paragraph will be displayed, which will contain that error message sent from our backend. Thereby user will understand the user does not exist. And then again, when he click login again with a different username, as we told, it will call the login action. Login action, what we set the error back to the empty, so that that paragraph will go off. That red paragraph, this error paragraph will go off. That's how the working of this. So I think you got a better idea now how the NgRx framework work in Angular. Now we have done with this login page and sign up page, and we have also configured the corresponding actions, effects, services, and reduces for this thing. So now let's go and create this page. So after finally creating this page, then we can integrate from here to here. So let me come here. For now this home, we can create this home a separate module as a child module, because you can come here to the app part, and then you can use this module ngGenerate module, and we give us home minus routing. So it should create a new module, new folder called home, and inside that we should get the home module and the home routing module. Okay, so here you can see home, and you can see home routing. Okay, maybe it's better we can create a folder as module and then do inside that. So new folder as module, because if you see, we are naming all the folders based upon the the technical parts like action components or modules. And now we can move this inside this module. Okay, so in future, if you want to add some more other interfaces, means other microservice center, we can add this in another module. You can put new module and idea. So coming back here, we have a home routing module and home module. So here we have the common module and the home routing module. So now maybe we will close all this thing. It looks very clumsy. Now coming to the component, create a component then. So here I will come to the component folder, and I will create ngGenerate component and name it as home. Okay. Yeah, so I should get a home folder, and inside that the home component. So we have the home component HTML and home component TS. Okay, so now we will write the HTML page to make like this. So again, div, and here first we have the welcome username and user. So welcome, maybe we can put as a header. So before div, we can put a h2 welcome. For time being, we will give a placeholder like that, or just give like this username. We will handle that later. Time being, just put like that welcome username. We have to give the actual username, which we will handle later. Welcome username. And then here is a list of roles. We'll give it like a paragraph as role, and now here list. You will go sorry. So here let it be, for time being, I will give us role 1, role 2, like that. We will handle once we start writing the class of this component, we will handle that. So for time being, we put role 1 and role 2 to give us a list here. Okay, fine. So this part is over. Now we need a fetch employee button and a table to display the name, company, and designation. So we can create a class as we can give us employee container. Okay, and open the CSS. So here I'll just copy paste only instead of avoiding typos. Okay, And here also margin I will give us auto, so that its content will come in the center. It will be center aligned. And width let's keep us 100% only, or maybe a little bit left, some 90%, because it will occupy the full screen. Yeah. 90% width. Of course, text align to center. So that will be the employee container. Here inside that we will have a button. Button name is fetch employees. Fetch employees. Okay. Now we will define a style sheet for that. So let the button be like this. So background color the same. The text color will be white. So padding 14, top and bottom is 14 padding, and left and right is 20 padding. And margin, yeah, on the top give 25 px, so that it will stay below this. A little bit space will be there between this and this. Okay, and border, yeah, no border there. Radius will be, yeah, 4 px for this curve. And cursor pointer, again pointer, so that when we keep the cursor it will show us the pointer, finger pointer there. And width, yeah, instead of there it was previous one, it was 100%, we get custom width. Let's see if it can accommodate, or we will increase the width accordingly. So that's button. Now we'll come here and we'll keep button nothing. We have defined as an element only in the CS, so no need of adding the class name here. And button. Now we need a table. So table should have a header column and data column. So T head and T body. And the header we have the header names. So first row and TH. That's the first column is name. Second is company. Third is designation. Okay. And same with T body when it comes. T row. Sorry, here it should be, okay, fine. Here it should be TD. T for name, we will give simple name as name1. We'll handle the actual value after integrating with the class. So what, name1, company1, designation1. Give one more column, so that let's test how it looks. Name2, company2, designation2. Okay. We have to add styles for this table. So coming to the CSS table. So we add border collapses so that it will, all the borders, there will not be any gap between each border. Like this, the border will be joined to, there will not be any gap between that. That is border collapse. Width is equal to 100%. Let it occupy the full container. Container we have 90%, so till the 90% of screen, this it will occupy. Margin 50. Top there is a margin of 50. Yeah, from this button 50, and there is no margin on the left and right, 0. Yeah, because it occupies the full container width. So that's how it is. And yeah, maybe in the button also we should add a hover, right? Okay, so button hover is just a color, just it dim little bit, let's reduce the opacity. So table is fine. Now what? TD and TH, the rose color, right? Okay, the th and the td and th, so which is the header column and the row level column. So there, let me add this style. So td and th, let there be a border with this almost gray color, and it's a solid, and align the text to left. We will align the text to left side only, not to the center, so it will be aligned left. Here it is center, but let it align to left only. And padding, let have an 8 padding, so it will be inside this. So that's all. Now component is ready, skeleton is ready for this. Let's see if it is displaying. So for that, now we have to go to the routing module and create a path for this thing. So we come to the home component. So it's by default they defined as standalone, so we'll remove this, so no import. Selector, let it be there. Template, everything is fine. So save it. Now what? Coming to the module, select the home module. Since we have changed as to standalone, we have to add this here in the declaration. What is it? Home component. Sorry, home component. So home component, and now coming to the home routing module, we have to define the routes, path. Let it be empty path. So this is a sub module, and this should be now added to the main routing module that I will do. So now here I will give the component. So component is nothing, the home component. So what does that mean? In this child module, if an URL comes without anything, just a slash at the end, it should call the home component. That's what this means. Now coming to the main app routing module, here we have to define that. So here what we do is, here also I define path empty. This is because login and sign up should be /auth. Once /authentication, this is the home page. Home page should be at the root level only. There should not be any path beyond that. So I should give empty. Means if any empty path comes, just the host name and the port come, it should go route to our home component. So here from the main module, main routing module, the root routing module, I have to point to the child module. So here what I should give is, I should give a slot children. So basically these routes have the properties like component, load children, like that. So load children, we can route the other module. So here what I will route is, I will route the home module. Yeah, it's an lambda. Okay, so home. So what does that mean is, from this thing it will load children. So load children, why we are using load children means it will not load all this module in the initial. When the page first loads, it will not load that. The load children will be module only when the specific path is called. So here the path is nothing, an empty path. So only when the empty path, for example, when I start /auth, it will not load anything. If you just give us a component only, everything will be loaded in that library and it will display. This will be like a lazy loading. That's the purpose of load children. Okay. So load children will load the home module. Home module in turn load the home routing module. Okay. So again the flow is like, here it is /empty. So it will load the home module, and there it's routing module. There also it's empty. That means if I want inside, for example, like more advanced way of doing is, for example, I have a store. So I can give path /store. Inside the store, if I want to go to the order page or the cart page, so store as the main routing module I can add here. So here I can add as here app routing module. I can add /store means go to this home module. So it will come here, and then here /cart I can add as a cart component. Again path /order component. So then /store cart will go to the cart component, like that. Child and means parent, child and subchild, like that. But here our requirement is very less. We just need a home page where we have to call the demo microservice. So just I kept there also, no further routing and so forth, and it loads to the home component. So that's how it works. Let's see if it is working. We'll start and see. Okay, file save what. Okay, so it's npm start. Okay, so you can see here the skeleton page which we developed has come correctly like what we required here. Welcome, the username, your roles, role 1, 2, what we given here, name, company, designation. Perfect. So we have built the skeleton. Now only thing is we need to get the data. Okay. So again, we have to get the data and store here. Okay. So this username and this roles we can get from the token. Okay, and this data, when we click this fetch employees, only it should show there. Okay, so we have to handle that now. But okay, so now coming to the token, yeah, so from token only we should get this. So we should again go back to our authentication, basically the effect part, where I actually, when I'm developing also, I put, we'll do only a console.log here. Yeah. So here is the place where we receive the token, right? Here we have from the login action also, login response and the end of response, we get the token. And we are in turn calling auth success action only for both this response. And in the auth success action, I haven't given any property. So now let me reverse that, what I decided earlier. We need, so what my plan is like, this, both this effect, intent should call intent, or this success action also should be handled by another effect. And there we will store the, the token with that new effect. So this login effect and sign up is to login and sign up. And when we get a successful, we are not calling any more effect. We are just calling another action which will be invoked in the reducer. But we will also handle this success action also as an effect here, so that we can store the token. Generically, when it is successful, it does not only store the token, it should store and navigate to the home page. That's the requirement. If login is successful or sign up is successful, we should navigate to the home page. So that we can handle here. So we should now change that action a little bit. We will have a response also here. So we should add a props. Okay. And sorry. The props should contain response. Okay, and that response is what? Auth response, which contains the token. Okay, so it's like that. So now we come here to the auth effect. If I'll save all auth effect. Okay, let me stop this. Control C. Something is erroring out. Yeah, we'll see that. So we'll come to the auth effect. Yep, this is because the auth success action, it has a response here. Okay, so what we do is we will give that response here, auth success action response as this response. Okay, so here also, now the response we received from the web API is handling. Now what we do is we have to handle this, because if you go to the reducer, we are not, even success, we are not changing any state, and this is not required for state, this is required for navigating the home page if it is successful. So we come again back to the action, effect. We will create one more effect like auth success effect, and observable again. So create effect lambda, and here this dot action dollar, we are checking the action, pipe. From that action we have a pipe operator, because we will handle multiple operation here. So first off type is this one, we are handling the auth success action. Of type auth success action, then map. So we will get the action here from the previous operator, we will get the action, and from that we need action dot response. Okay, that's the thing. And now what we need is, we just need to store this token. So we don't want a merge map, we just need to store. So what we can do is a tap is enough for the response. Okay, from this action, so effect if you see all this effect, from the effect we are again calling another action, right? Observable of another action. That's what we are doing. But this, from this action I don't want to call it again, from this effect I don't want to call any other action. So in that case what we do is, in this create effect, so first is the lambda, and second parameter we have to give us non-dispatch, like dispatch as false. So it will not expect an action back here. What we now, so this is dispatch false means this action, this effect will not now call any other action. So this will finish from here. So here now we need to handle the token storage. This is response contains access token storage, and also navigate to the home page. Okay, so that we can handle in the auth service, because let the navigation, token storage, everything, let it we do here only in one place, so that we don't want to go here and there. We don't put in the effect class, or no, we will handle here. We can create a method here, store access token, and navigate to home. Okay, that's a method here. So we need session storage. So and here the input is the access token string, and here we will create session storage dot set item. We will store the token session storage, so that if when a section is closed, the token will be deleted. Only in active session the token will be still there. So here we need a key. Let me define the key as a string here. Access token key string equal to access token key. Okay, so here we will give this dot access token key equal to this access token. So it will store here. And now what we need to route to then navigate to the home page also. So for that we need the routers. So we define here private router. So it will inject the routers. Yeah, so that using that router we can route to route dot, so this dot router dot navigate to home. Home, as I defined in the routing module, home will be just a slash ending with no other path, only a slash. It's whatever the root URL after the slash. If it is empty, it will be a home page. If it's auth, it will be an auth page. So here we navigate. So this method now should be called in the effect here. Auth effect. So it will be like, I can take it now. So this dot auth service dot store navigate and what response dot access token. Yeah. So now how it works is, when it is successful login or sign up is successful, it in turn calls the success action, which will be handled in the reducer. Also it is again handled in the effect using this effect here of type. And this effect is a non-dispatch, means it will not again call further actions. So non-dispatch is false. So what it will do is just handle the response here, and what we are doing is we are just storing the token and navigating the home page. So that's how when the user click the user sign up and login button, if it is successfully authenticated, nothing. When it's finished, we can see the home page which we just saw. Now what we need. So let's start and see. It is okay. No error. Everything is fine. If I go to the auth, yeah, it's coming there, and if I remove this, it's coming here. Now we need to decode these tokens and display the name and the role here. So for decoding the token, let me kill this and yeah, decoding token, we need another library called JWT. So we can install that. There is no inbuilt library in the Angular which can decode. I have to install another library. So it's npm I. Okay, npm install. This is a library OAuth2 Angular JWT. You can see the package.json. You should see here. Yeah, the library got installed. Now coming to, as I told, we will handle all this token based thing in the authentication service usually. So here we can create a method to decode the token and get the response. Basically what we need a username and the roles. So maybe we can create a data class first, or a data interface, where we define this, and after decoding token, that value can be set in the interface. So coming to data here, new file be user claim, and name it as user claim.ts. okay, and it should be an interface, export interface, and what are there, it should have, sorry, export interface user claim. Okay, what should have, it should have username as string. Okay, and the roles you can put as authorities, and that should be a string array. That's what we'll display. So user claim is ready. Now coming to auth service. Where is auth service? Auth service. Okay. We will create a method get user claim, which will return this claim. Okay, now we have a method to store access token. Same way we will create a method for getting access token as well. Getting access token, and it should return what? Any I will give. Okay, and session storage dot get item, this dot access token key. Okay, and return. Okay, so now coming here, first let token is equal to this dot get access token. Okay, if token, we will define let user claim okay, we define an empty variable for user claim and return this here, so that if token, then what, if token is present, then we have to decode it. Here we have to have new JWT helper. JWT helper is new JWT helper service dot decode token. The token here. So that will give a, so this JWT helper service is what we got from the new library Angular JWT. So let decoded token is equal to this one. Now it will have a decode token, and we know that in our token username comes as user hyphen name, and this authorities comes as authorities name only. So we will give user claim. Okay, claim is equal to, what's it, in this user claim we have username, which will come as what, decoded token dot token user hyphen name, and authorities equal to decoded token, it's same name only. This is how in the token our values, in our previous video I have showed you the decoded token value, and authorities, yeah, anything is fine. So we got the user claim here, we got the authorities here, that we will return. If the token is okay, the token is not present in the storage, it will give an empty list only. So that's it. Now we can go to our home component .ts, yes, and we can create a constructor here. Okay, and what we need auth service to decode. So obviously private auth service, inject this auth service here. Okay, so we will give user claim, which will be user claim only, user claim. Okay, the value, yeah, we will define the constructor user claim is equal to what, auth service dot get user claim. So on loading itself, we will call this and get the user claim. So now we got the user claim. Now we can change the HTML page to get the correct value. So welcome, what here it will be user claim dot username, right? Yeah, so your roles, so this should iterate. Basically this should be like li ng for, like ng for authority of authorities. Then we don't want this thing. Now we just give that authority here. Let authority of authority claim authority. So it will display the authorities in the list whatever we have there. Okay, so that is there. Now what? Now the microservice part where we'll call the demo service to get the employee list. So again, now here also, let me save this. So here also now we have to implement the action effect reducer in services to get this value on clicking that button. So F button, we can give we should have a method. So let the method we can define here as not here what is it, get employee, get employees. Okay, and we need the store to do all that here, but that comes here and define this get employees. So when you click this, it should get the employees. So now file save all. So we are done with the skeleton part, at least the username and role is, we will get it. Now we have to call the service. So again, so we have to create close all, we have to create a service here for the home. So coming here, just create a new file, home.service.ts. okay, the same like the other service will be export class. Obviously it should be injectable, and constructor should have private HTTP client, HTTP client, okay, and we should have method like get employees, okay, and yeah, this service has to be now added to the provider, and this time this provider will be in our home module. So service import is over providers, home service. Okay, so this get employees, we should have now another response here for the employees. So it should be new file auth response, we say employee dot response dot ts. Okay, export interface employee response, and what are we have there? We have the name which is string, then what, company which is string, and what designation, a string. Okay, so now I'll save all, will come here, and this will return what? This will return observable of employee, not employee, return array. Now this dot HTTP client dot, their get was it was a get call only. There was no post, so we'll give get, and it returns what? Employee response. Okay, that it will return now. Okay, now what we need the URL, and along with the URL we need to send a token also. That is what the main purpose of this testing, the security of this microservice. So the token which we stored in the session storage, which is where in the auth service. So this we have to call this get token, and that we have to set as an bearer token in this request. Auth service.get action, which will be set in the header with the bearer token, authorization, bearer, and the token. And now we need the URL. URL is http again localhost, where it is demo service running in 8082. The URL path is demo service employee. This is what we developed in the demo service session. So call this thing, it's a get, only the token, and we should get the user, get the employees here. So this is the service part. Now we have to create an action. Okay, so coming to the action here, new file, home.action .ts. So here export constant fetch employee. Fetch employee is equal to create action. We have to give the action name. What is it? This employee fetch. Okay, employee fetch, and nothing to pass because we don't need anything. We just need a token only, which we receive from the auth service. So nothing to be passed. No props here. Now next is export constant to handle the success and failure scenario. Same as what we did. Sorry, this typo here. We did for the auth actions, login and login auth success. fetch fetch employee success is equal to create action, and in this case it will be employee fetch success. Now yeah, here we will have an property props. What is a props? Here we will give response. What is the response? Response is an array of employee response. Yeah, we have to import this thing props. Okay. So same way, export constant fetch employee failure. Fetch employer. So same, I will say here it will be changed to error, and here response is any. Okay, now in this case, this employee success and employer both has to change the state. Correct. Employee success state only will display the employees in that table. So the component will be checking for the state to display it. So this should be handled in the reducer to change the state when this success comes, unlike the other login flow or authentication flow. And here error, yeah, similar as that of the authentication flow. Error to display the error message. Here also we display the error message. So these two should be now handled there. Now that is fine. Now we'll come to the effect. Yeah, we'll create an effect, new file, home.effect. Export class home effect, and we should inject this Okay, so constructor. So what we need in the constructor? We need private action dollar actions effect. Yeah, and we need private home service. Now what we need? We need to create an effect for employee. Okay, so fetch employee effect dollar is equal to create effect. So create effect is internal lambda function which should return an observable of action. So here we will get this dot action dollar dot pipe. Okay, so here, so first operator is of type. So what was type? Fetch employee. Okay, so fetch employee. If that is the type, then what? So here if you go to fetch employee, there is no input, so there is no need of map and all. Okay, and now when we come to the home service, we need what? Nothing also. No input is required here. So in the home effect, so we don't need of again a map here. We can have a merge map. Okay, so merge map. Now what we get? Of type means we get an action only. The action is of no relevance to here. So the merge map, what we call? We call home service dot get employees. Okay, which will give an observable of employee response that we have to do with pipe. So with that pipe, what we have to do? So here we have to call a map, and there what we get? We get the response, and this response what we have to intend call employee fetch employee success action, and there fetch employee success action will have this response. This response is nothing, and then catch error. So it's not catch error. So we give error, and if it is error, what we have to do is an observable of yeah, this map. I think I have devoted map. Okay, so response. Yeah, so here, sorry, here we have to give us response is equal to response here, and catch error. What we have to give fetch employee error, and type of your import. Sorry, of fetch employee error. There also is response, and response is er dot error dot error message. Okay, so now what is error here? Not find fetch employee effect. Oh, sorry, I defined all this in constructor. Sorry, constructor. I have to put here. So this dot home service, and yep. So fine, so that's how it is. So here as I told, the action is of no relevance, so we can just give it like this. So here we get employee success, and so this should be handled in the reducers. Even this also fetch employee should be also handled, and fetch employee success. There is no other thing, because we need to change the state based upon the error or success. So fine. So that's all with the effect here. Now we will go to the reducer. So here we'll come here, reducers. So we'll create the home reducer, new file, home.reducer.ts. Okay, so before the home reducer we need an auth state. State. So we'll come to the state here, because reducer need an initial state. So come to the state, we can create new file, home.state. So this should be an interface, export interface home state, and what home state will now contains, here the state in the home page, what are controlling the state. One is the array of employee, another is an error message. So we will give the name as employees, which is nothing, an employee response array, and then what, an error, which is of type any. So that is the home state. Now we will come to the reducer, home reducer. So we'll define a constant initial state, initial state, what, home state. Home state is equal to what we need, employees, that will be an empty array, and error, let it be empty. Okay, so that is initial state. Now we will create the reducers. So export constant home reducer is equal to create reducer. Okay, so first is the initial state, then based on each action. So on what action? First h employee. H employee means state. So here state, what we have to do, we have to keep that value only state here, and when we fetch employee we should set error as empty. And employees, employees also will give us empty. When we start fetching employee, it should be an empty. And now next one is on what, fetch employee success. So fetch employee success, we will have state, existing state, as well as one response as well. Okay, so here let the existing state be like this. Then what, employee is equal to this response. Correct, this response is and error is empty. Here on issues, we have to make it like this. It's inside this element only it will come as response. That and then on what is fetch employee success. So here also state and an element, inside that we have response. So in this case the response is an error message, so that will be set here. So state, existing state, we state there, and so here in this case if it is error, what we do, we'll reset that because the fetch got error, and error we set as that response. Okay, so yeah, so this too will now change the states. If success means the employee will be added to the state, new employees, employee list will be added. If error, that employee list, existing employee will be set as empty and the error will be set. So that's all for the reducer. Now we need a selector to select this reducer. Yeah, but we need to add this reducer to the home module. So we'll come to the home module. Yeah, we didn't add the effect and we didn't add the reducer also. So both we have to add here. Effects module or feature. What is it? Home effect. Okay, now same way, what we need the reducer. So to reducer we need the selector name also. Only we can. Okay, so let's go to the selector now, and we'll add the home selector. Home dot selector dot ts. So here export constant home selector that is equal to create feature selector, and we have to give the name as what we need, home state. And here, yeah, obviously we have to parameterize that, which is nothing but what, home state. Okay, so let's say all. Now we come to the home module. Store module dot for feature. Yeah, so here if you see here we'll add store module for feature, but in the app module when we select the root reducer, what we did, we have store module for root. So that's for the root level and this is for the feature level. So we'll come to the home module for feature. We have to provide the selector name, so which is nothing, what we give, home state. Delete that and then define the home, what is it, home selector. This one, sorry, home reducer. Yes, so let's see. So that's done with the reducer, the effect. Now we come back to the home component. So now what we need to home component.ts. We need the store to dispatch and get the action. So he will inject private store, and this will be stored here. Okay, now what, when we call the get employee, store dot dispatch, and dispatch action name. Action is what, fetch employee, and fetch employee doesn't have any input. It's just a fetch employee, to intent call that. So that is super home employee. Now what? Now using selector we have to display the value, right? Because now we need the employee details to print here, or sorry, display here. Okay, yeah. So what we need? So we need the home state, which is an observable. So observable of what? Home state. Yeah, so since now we have to define this in the constructor, so this dot home state is equal to, now what we need, store dot select, what we need, a selector. What is the selector? Home selector. Fine, so it will select this, and whenever the value changes in the store, automatically this observable, the value get assigned to the observable also. And now this observable has to be assigned in the HTML page. We will come to the table, where table is here. Okay, so this doesn't have any impact here, only this rows only will change as per the value. Okay, so now here we will use ng for. Okay, so let employee of what, home state dollar dot home state dollar. How to get the value from the observable? We have to give async this bracket async, and then employees, and of course, yeah, obviously we need this employees question mark because this can be null. So if we come here, then what we need is the values. So first value, what, employee dot name. So same way we need employee dot name, employee dot company, and employee dot designation. So perfect, we don't want this will iterate. Now again, this table also should be displayed only if this value is there. So then we will put an NgIf here. What if this is there? NgIf of home state dollar async. Now just home state, we need home state of employees only if the employees is present. Yeah, if employees is present, then display the table and iterate the body with the whatever rows in the employees that display here in each of the table. Okay, so that's it. So file save all. So now we have done with fetching action also, so everything looks good. Let's start and see if it is working. Yeah, still now we didn't authenticate to the back, didn't integrate to the backend. So sometimes it may out, but let's see. File, we have saved everything. The page is coming or not. Yeah. So fetch employee, your rules. This name also should not come, right? Why this is coming? Company designation, some problem here. Home component.h. And if maybe I will put dot length not equal to 0, then only this will save it and see if it is okay. Yeah, so now if we come here, it will not be, only the fetch employee button is there. Only if we click it, it should display. Okay, so that's it. So our page is working. Now our problem is, look, even the user authenticate or not authenticate, he can move from welcome home page and all that. Correct. That's not the same way. If it is not authenticated, it should be always showing the auth page, and once he authenticate only, he can, no, there's no home page, he can come here. Okay, so now we will add that logic here so that non-authenticated user will not be able to see the home page. Okay, so for that, what we do is, let me close all this. So for that, what we can do is we'll come to the main routing module. So there is an app routing module. So here we can safeguard. So now here we have only two modules, right? One is our auth module and another is a home module. So auth module is internet component. So here we can use one property called can activate. So only if it is set as true, if this property is set as true, then this page can be applicable. Okay, so now home module should be activated when we should be set as true. When the user have a valid section token, unspecified valid section token in the session story, then only this should be set true. Okay, so now we will define a class where we can use this logic. Okay, so maybe we will write this in the main app folder only, new file. I will give us auth.god. Yes. Okay, so here we will define that logic. So it should be a export constant. What? Can activate home. Okay, we should define the type. It is called can activate function, and this function should return something. So we give return false. Active function. Yeah. So if I give return false means, and then I will import this here. So can activate home. So it should be inside and bracket. Okay. So here now it is false, means whatever we do, this will not be activated. So let us save here, file, save on, because we are always returning false. Now if I come here, yeah, look, the home folder will never be displayed because it's activated. This is what we need. So if the user is not authenticated, the page should not be displayed. Okay. So now what logic we should do? We should check in the this function that if there is an authentication service or not. Sorry, the token is there or not. Unfortunately, here we cannot use that injection and all to bring that authentication service here. So the way how we do is, here we will define const auth service and inject, we call this inject, Angular core inject, yes, inject, and we bring that auth service here. So in this way we can bring the auth service here because we don't have annotation yet. So now what we need in this auth service, we should check the token, and if the token is present, so maybe we will add some more logic also, like in this auth card, whenever the user navigate to the home page in the beginning by typing the URL. So now you have seen it didn't display anything. What we have to do, in addition to this displaying nothing, we should route back to the login page, because this, what does that mean is there is no auth token. So go to the login page and so show the login page that the user can enter his credential and come in, login. So we have to bring that logic also. So maybe we will only automatically route if the section token is not there. So what I can do here is, in the auth service, we'll create a method like check access token and logout. So what does this check access token and logout should do? It should check if access token exists. If access token does not exist, we should navigate to the logout. If access token exists, exit, yeah, we should allow the action to complete. We don't want to do anything, we just want to return true there, return true from the auth card, so that the framework only will complete that. Because it is access token is there, you should go to the home page. Okay, so what we can do, so get the access token, we can call here. So let access token is equal to this dot get access token. So you'll get this method is already there. So here we'll get the access token from the storage. If token means if the access token yes, the access token is not there. So here I will return a boolean. So if access token is there, then what? If access token is there, I don't need to do anything. We can give return true. Correct. Return true because access token is present. If access token is not present, then we have to give return false. So return false if the access token is not present, return false, and also we should navigate also. We should navigate to the auth path and return false. So now one more thing, access token, we should also check whether the token is SPAD or not. So let's check, is token SPAD? Okay, so it's token SPAD. So now what we need to decode the token. So which that we already did here. User claim. So yeah, we will bring this logically. You will say, yeah, here none of user claim. You will get the token, and if the token is present, decode this token. If the token is not present, return is token SPAD. True, yeah. Token not present means also it is SPAD only, right? It's equivalent to SPAD. This token return false means at the time. Okay, here we will do. So we got the decode token. From that we will find the time, expiry time. In the token we have the expiry time. When I already decode token, I have shown in the previous video. So that time we have taken, and now what we are taking, the current time. we have taken. So the logic is something like this. If it is like 10 o'clock is expiry time, when someone check at 9:59, we will say it is expired. 9:58 it is not expired. 9:59 is expired. 10 o'clock is expired. 10 after 10 anything is expired, because it will become -1 -2 like this, expiry time minus current time. So that's all. If less than or equal to 60, we say it as expired. Otherwise, it's not expired. If it is not present also, we will say it is expired. So that's how the logic is. Now we will check, and yeah, this should return boolean. Okay, so fine. So now we will check is access token. If access token is present and it should not be expired. This dot is token expired. If it is not expired, and if it's present and if it is not expired, then only true, means access token is valid. Otherwise, no, it's expired false. So now what we do is we should call this auth code here. In the auth code we will call this method. So come here, auth code. So instead of return, what we can say is this auth service dot check access token and logout. So if it is true means access token is valid, we are not logging out. If false means, yeah, if access token is invalid and we are logging out, and we are setting as false, so it will not show any page and we are navigating. So this is how we can maintain for the home page. Same way now, for example, here also, user come to auth. If the user is already authenticated, then we don't want to show this page. We should directly log in him. Even the user especially clicks /auth, type /auth, we should not navigate. So that also can be handled here. So that will be a little reverse function of this thing. So export can activate auth. Okay, so can activate auth. So here what I should do is check access token and login. I can say like that. So it should be just reverse of this thing. And here instead of nav, check access token and login. So here how it is, if access token is present and if it is not expired, what I should give false, because don't go to the auth. Instead, if this is trying to go to the auth page, but we found out that its access token is present and it is not expired, no, then what we have to do is we have to navigate to the home page. No, if the access token is not present and if this is or the token is expired, return true. Sorry, means access token is not present and or expired. So in that case, return true. You can there be in the auth page, because this is called only when the user tries to navigate the auth from the browser, auth page from the browser. This, what we can do is here, sorry, in the auth code, can activate auth, how check access token and login. So that's all. So we can bring can activate auth in the app routing module. So here also can activate. Okay, so with these two things here, we don't want to write any logic in the component side and all. This will take care of its. So here, this is only an auth component, is it taken in the one side. Here, home module and its sub module also. Anywhere it will apply. Okay. Fine. So now fine, save all. So now if we come here, and now let's go to that. Now if we go to the home page, we want to come back to the auth. Look, it has come to. We will not. It will not. The page will not allow. Our code will not allow now to go to the home page. Only the auth page is there. Okay. So now to test the other flow of authentication, now we need the backend to get the token and to do that. So let's see. So this is done here. So I think we are done up with this. Now we need the back. We just need to connect to the backend service and test if you are able to log in or sign up. So we will start our backend service. So we need our authorization application, user authentication service, yeah, to just for checking, and yes, dummy service. If it is successful, we should call the dummy service. So we should start all this application. Okay, then let's start that. So we have authorization application here. Okay, let's start this thing. Okay, authorization application started. Now we'll start the user authentication service. Okay, and now we have to bring the demo microservice. Okay, so we have started all the backend services, authorization, authentication, and the demo microservice. We will come, we will enable the debug also here, more tools. So let's see if any error is coming or not. Maybe I will put this downside. Yeah, so here it will be more clear. So console. So this is the login and this is the sign up. So let me give code with Anish, password 12345, and here if you type 1, look, password does not match. But there is one problem, it is not showing the color red here. Okay, let me check, it should be red color. I just set the error message only in the error case. Okay, even here also, in this span also we have to set the class. Fine, so if I now reload it, okay, coming to the sign up page, code with Anish 12345, and if I give 1, yeah, look, password in the red color 2345. Yeah, so just I made sure the password and confirm password is same. Now let's see sign up. Okay, post op is unauthorized. There is some error. I am suspecting the URL is not correct. So sign in, the URL is user auth sign in. User auth sign in. What is we have given here? Auth service. The URL is it's auth sign in. Sorry, here sure. It's user auth sign in. So we change it here. Okay, sign in, login. So file save all. Okay, let it. So it reloaded. Let me sign up once again. Code with Anish 12345 and 12345. Okay, there is again another error. Oh, it looks like the course which we have set is not working in this. You remember in the user authentication service when we are developing, I have especially set course to avoid this error only, but it is not working. Let me see why it is. Okay, so here only we have set the course configuration, and okay, we added the sign in and login exemption in the web security customizer, and we added this course configuration in the HTTP security. So that's the reason. So that's due to that the sign in and login URL, the course configuration we applied is not getting applied. So this will get applied only, this course configuration will get applied only to the URL set in the HTTP security. So which is other URL which we have specified here. So that's the reason. So now we have to move this two URL to the HTTP security configuration only. So let's move there. Okay, so I have added here. So I have added this URL in this HTTP security only to permit all here. So what we have to do is, earlier it was like this, r dot any request authenticated, but now we added request. These two should permit all. But now the problem is with the Spring Security 4. If you give any request matches and if you give permit all, then we have to disable the cross-site request forgery. Otherwise, this will not get applied. This permit all will not get applied. In the sense, cross-site request forgery was before Spring Security 4. It was disabled by default. But after Spring Security 4 version, Spring has made it enabled by default. So we have to disable it. So if it is enabled by default, then what happened? Whatever URL we are putting here and permit all, permit all. Permit all means it's saying that it doesn't have any token or anything, you should permit. Then what happening is, if the CSRF is enabled, the framework will check for an CSRF token. So CSRF is a cross-site request forgery. So in the cross-site request forgery, it is a way of user attacking the web application without the knowledge of the actual, attacker attacking the user without the knowledge of the user, attacker calling any API without the user knowing it. That is the cross-site request forgery. So to avoid that, what Spring has come is, it has bring with the CSRF token. So whenever an user authenticate, so it was made basically for the application which has session management. So in the session management, whenever session is created, a JSession ID is created. So somehow this attacker will cache this JSession ID, and then when the JSession ID is compromised, he can now call any API on behalf of the actual user without his knowledge. So to avoid that, only in Spring Security, in addition to JSession ID, it will create a token also. So it will validate that. And that's in a very short level. You can read more on that. So this from Spring Security 4, they enabled it. So this will not work if I didn't disable it. So we have to disable it, and then we should make, so Spring Security will not search for any CSRF token. But for other URL, it will not check, because we have maintained a stateless, and in addition to that, we have an OAuth2 resource server where we check for the JWT token. So since that is there, other URL, it is not checking for CSRF even if it is enabled. So CSRF will be checked only for those those requests which doesn't have any authorization here and which has permit on. So we have to disable this and add here. And then what we have to do, we have to remove this from the web security customizer. Okay, fine. So now let's stop and start at this. Okay, started. Now let's clear this and let's sign up. Okay, yeah, we got the token now. Yeah, I have printed the response, but some error went there. What is the error? Look, the response comes as a CCSS token, and we are pointing to something else. That's a problem. So what's response.access token? So that's what we have to store here. So it has stored some null object or something. Okay, fine. So file, save all. Okay, let's come here. Oh, it has stored something. Let's close this session. That is the only way now we can do this, because it has stored a null object there. Okay, came to authentication again. We will make the developer tools enabled. Console, yeah. So sign up. Code with Anish. Password 12345. 12345. Sign up. User already exists. Yes, that means when we send that, the user got created in our backend DB. Okay, then that's only we got the error here. Yeah, but since we didn't handle the token property correctly, it got error in the front end. Okay, fine, then no issue. Then if user already exists, we can try the login page. So code with Anish, and user is 12345, and click login. Okay, perfect. Look, we got welcome, code with Anish as the username, and your roles, role user. So this is what we declare right here. Welcome, username, and your roles, and we have only one role. That is the role user. So we have the role user, and now we can call this fetch employees to check if it is bringing that list of employees from the demo service. Call it. Okay, something is not happening here. Console. So something employee, what happened? Error and response. Yeah, we got the response, but it is not getting displayed. I have set, this is the problem. So here, fetch employee error. Yeah, because this is getting override. The employee is setting as null because of this thing. This reduce. Yeah, that's a problem. So now here, employees will be set here responses. So file, save all. Okay. Yes, so we got it. So finally, here everything is working fine. So we have the, as we see in the demo service, we bring all that high personalities from the pitch Elon Musk company designation. So this is how, so the page is working fine. Host 4200, even if you give root also it will go to the auth. Yeah, now I will check with some wrong user code with Anish2 and just blah 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 login. So it should, user does not exist. Perfect. So now sign up. If I give that, I already tested, but again I'm showing code with Anish 123 something 123. Okay, sorry, 123. Sign up. User already exists. This is how the error message is coming here, which we handled in the state. Okay, so perfect. So now we go to the login. Code with Anish 1 2 3 4 5. So wait, 1 2 3 4 5. Perfect. It logged in. Fetch employees. Yeah. So this is how. So maybe I will show you that once again the flow how it was. So when we call the fetch employee, so here you can see in the network in this URL, you can see we are setting the token here, the bearer token, and this token is then sent to the backend URL which is in the 8082. So then only a response is coming. So when we send this URL in the backend demo service, you can see here when the URL is coming, it will get the JWKS from the authorization application, validate the token. Only after successful validation it is giving the response back. So that's how it works. So whatever we tested in that Postman, now we are able to test with our web page. Remaining is I have to now bring the sign in with Google option also here. So with that I think we will finish the full structure. Yeah. So next we have to create this sign in with Google page in our authentication page. Okay, so for that we need to create an project in our Google Developer Console and create an OAuth client there. Okay, so for that first we have to go to the Google Developer Console. Okay, so this is my Google Developer Console. So after coming to Google Developer Console, you have to create a if you don't have a project, create a project, or if you have something, select the project here in this drop down. Okay, so I have selected, or I have created a project name test here. So after that, here you can see in the API services there is something called OAuth consent screen. So now we have to create an OAuth consent screen. So after creating this only we can bring that Google sign-in option in our authentication page. So you can select as external, then you can click create button. Now you can give an app name. So this app name, whatever you give, this will be shown. Any user come to your web page and click the sign in Google option button, it will ask whatever app name you given here. This app want to access your Google account to show. So you can give that name. So I'm just giving as test OAuth. Okay, and user support mail, I will give my mail ID only. And app logo, for time being I'm not uploading any app logos. Okay, authorized domain. Oh, for testing purpose I'm not using. So developer contact, same code with Anish, same email ID only I'm using. Now save and continue. Okay, now it will ask for the scope. So just click order remove scope. So what all we need from the user, we need the email and the profile information. For me email is more than enough, that is what we are using, but we can click for the profile also. And now we'll click the update. So this thing only as part of the token which Google produce and give back to our web page, it will contain this email and the profile details, and we need from the email only as our username. So then we'll give save and continue. Add uses, so test uses. So maybe I can give my user ID will be. Okay, add. Yeah, so you can get the test used also, because we'll try to log in with the same user. Now save and continue. Okay, so it has just created the OAuth consent screen. Now back to dashboard. Now what we need is here to create a credential for. So this OAuth consent screen is ready for our project. Now what we need is here to create a credential. So credential, we will come here, we will click a credential. So it will ask for what? We need the OAuth client ID. So using this client ID is required in our web application so that it can access the OAuth consent screen. So we'll click that OAuth client ID. Now we'll select as web application. So you can give client name as web client 1, no issues. Oh, this one, authorized JavaScript origin. So here we need to add HTTP local host. We have to add the local host, and then we have to add HTTP local host 4200, because our Angular application listens in the port 4200. So we have to add both this local host as well as, sometimes if you add only localhost 4200 it may not work. So both this localhost and localhost 420 you have to add. So that's all. So now when you can click create. Okay, so it will give a client ID and client secret. So what we need is a client ID. So I have copied this client ID and will keep somewhere safe. So that's all. This is what we needed for our web applications. Client ID is ready. Now we'll come back to our project. So in this project, let me stop this now. Yes, okay. To have this button and other dependent libraries, we have to install one library in our project now. So we can install that. So this is the library. It is NgRx social login. So this library we need to install in our project. So when we install, let's see in the package.json. So let's close everything. Okay, so it looks like it installed. Let's go and see if it has installed or not. Yes, the NgRx socialist login has been installed. And next what we have to do is we have to go to the index.html, and inside this header we have to add one script. So the script is from the Google only. So Google client, we have to add that and save it. So after adding in the index.html, we have to go to our app module, and in the module inside this provider, we have to add this Google authentication provider as well. Okay, so that's all. So here what is the provider name is social auth service config and no auto login, and inside this social auth service we have provided. So as I told, we are using only the Google OAuth provider, so we have given that. We are not using other OAuth providers as of now. So that's what we have given here. And now inside this single quotes we have to add the client ID, so that it will understand it is going to use the OAuth consent screen of our project. So let's copy this Google client ID here. Okay, the Google client ID is created. So now finally going to our OAuth component. So where we need to add the sign in with Google button above the login or user form. So we'll come here, we need to add this here. Yeah, this is showing error because along with the provider in the app module, we have to where is app module here? Yeah, we have to import the Google button module also. So Google sign button module. Now if you come back here in the auth component, the error should have gone. Fine. So this ASL Google sign button is what we have seen in that wireframe. So same button will come here. I kept sizes large, and I put display inline block so that it will be in line with the block. Okay, fine. Now let's start and see if it has shown or not. Okay, so now we can see this sign in with button. It will be there in both login and sign in. Perfect. So the button has come. Now what we want, we need a partition like line and an or. So we'll create that as well. We'll create a div. Okay, and you can give us class is equal to, you can name us divider, and span inside it where we will give the or. All right, that's that or, and that also needs some styling. So class is equal to inner text, I will say that class. Fine. Now we will define this class name inside the CSS. We'll come here. So what we need first, what we need is a divider. So the properties of divider is width should be 100% again width 100, because this divider also come inside this auth form, which is 20% of the main screen. So it will occupy the 100% of that auth form container. And border bottom. So border bottom means a line which is of solid color is gray and 2px thickness, that is the border. And I'm giving margin 20px, so 20px on the down and bottom, not on the right and left side, that is 20px 0. And line height I have given us 0.1 em, so that it will adjust the height accordingly. So in the or, wherever the or is written, I want the line to be exactly here, so that 1 em will adjust accordingly, 0.1 em will adjust line accordingly here. Now same way we need the class for inner testers. So for this inner test, I will give background FFF, so that wherever the or is written, its background will come with white color. Otherwise this line will, it looks like line strike through the or. So to avoid that, we'll put a background so that the place where the or is written, it will not mean this part we need to be white, otherwise it will see like the line will super strike the or and go. So that's only we are given that background. And padding, so no top padding, only right and left 10px. So that's what we need. So that's all. Now let's save and see. Perfect. So sign in with Google or username, password, and if sign up also, if I go to sign up also, sign in with Google. Fine. So that's all now done. Now we will test it and see if it's able to work or not. Okay, so first we will click this button. Yeah, so it's asking choose an account. This is my account, my test account which use. So I click here and look to continue to test. So this is the project, the application name we have given when we created the OAuth consent screen. Okay, so it's asking choose an account to continue to this. So I created this. Okay, yeah, but before that let me put some logs in the cons. So here now the page is working, it has directed towards OAuth consent screen. Now what we have to do is we have to handle that. So as I told in the previous video also, here when we click this thing, it will ask to enter our username and password. Since this my browser is already authenticated, it will not ask, it will directly give you the token back here. So how to handle token we have to handle in our class, it will come here. Okay, so we have to handle here. So how we can do is we need to create an method on init. So this class will be called on initializing of this component, and in the constructor we have to define the social auth service. Okay, this social auth service only what we have given in the app module, that configuration of that only we have given in the app module here, social auth service. So that we inject here in our auth component.ts. Yes, now in the ng on init, what we have to do is this dot social auth service dot auth state dot subscribe. So we need to subscribe here. So what we get is the user detail. Let's say user detail, and for time being I will put a console dot log and print the user detail. So let's see what coming here. So let's save all that on screen. File, save all, reload this. Okay, sign in, click here, confirm you want to sign into test authors code this. Yes, I confirm here. Let's see, move tools, developer tools, the console. Look, we got the social user. So here I got the details. So I got the email, my first name, ID token. This is what the token which we have to send to our backend, and this is the token which we will validate. That's what we have developed in the user authentication service, token which Google has to send. So this token we will validate with the what is that, JSON web key from the Google, and validate if this JW token is valid or not. Once it is validated, then we authenticate, save this user detail in our user authentication service. So this is the token what we need. It's fine. So we got this now. Finally, it's working. So what we need now, we need to create an action for calling the Google authentication. So basically, Google user send. So we have to call this URL, user 3p URL, and as we have seen here, what we have to set in the body is just a provider Google, and the token we will set as the bearer token here. So this implementation we have to do. Okay, so coming back, so what we need again, the action here. So going to the action, auth action. So what, login is there, auth success is there. So now we will create one more action. Let's take this. It's not sign up action, it's what will I say, third party. Okay, let's sign up is there. I will add one more thing, third party sign up action. So here also I will just add like that, third party. Okay, that's fine. Now the request. So here, as I shown the postman, what we need in the request body, we need a provider as Google, and authorization is token. So we will not creating a data class is not enough, because two objects are set in different places. So what I can use, one is an token. I will say as token, it should be a string. Okay, and now another is the provider, which is again a string. So these two things we have to send. Okay, or token and provider. And now this third party action we have to handle in the effects. So coming to the effect, yeah, before effect we'll create the service also, API call to the backend. So auth service, we come here. So we have do login, do sign up. Same way we will create, copy paste, do third party sign up or sign in. Okay, and request here is we will get one token and string and provider. Fine. So this is also post, and the URL is user third party sign, user third party sign, and now we not string. And what we set is in the request, we set like this, provider equal to provider, like this, provider equal to provider. From the component we send it as Google. Okay, provider. And now one more thing what we need is we have to send the token as the bearer token. So here we'll add headers in that authorization bearer, whatever token is coming, it will come here. So that when this hit as already seen in our user authentication service development, this token will be validated, and only validated it will be sending back the response successful or authenticated or any token failure. So that's all. Now coming to the effect. So only we have to create an effect because already we have a success and error scenario. So just I will copy paste this. So now third party I will give third party sign up effect. So create effect. So action is the third party sign up action, right? Yep. I should be very careful with this name. If this name duplicates, then as we've seen a little bit earlier, error will come. So that's all, and everything is looking fine. Now coming to the effect once again. So yeah, now here, so here we don't want the map here. We can directly call merge map. So merge map will be what? We will get the action on the request, because auth type will give the action, and from that action we will take what? So it's not do sign up, it's third party sign. So do third party sign, what all we have? We have token. So we will get action dot token and action dot provider, right? So this is what we need, token and provider. Token is set here, provider is set as the body. So coming back to auth effect, so that will be there, and then the remaining flow is the same. We will get the same authentication response. That response, if it is error, also same errors. So error will go to the auth error action, and the success will go to auth success action. Auth success action coming to this place where we put the logic of navigating to the home page. What we need an store dispatch to call the action. Store dot dispatch. Store dot dispatch. What is the action? Third party sign up action, and it has what? 2 requests, right? What are they? Token. Yeah, it should be like this. Token and provider. So token is what? So token is the ID token. So that will be coming from the user detail. So user detail dot ID token, and provider also will get Google. So user detail dot provider. So ID token and the user detail provider. So that's it. So file, save all. So now this should call the sign up action, and which in turn call the service to the back user authentication service and return the token, and it's authorized and log into the home. Okay, so here sign in with Google, authenticate, perfect. So you can see the username codewithanish@gmail.com, your role user. Now if I fetch it, I should get, yeah, perfect. So even the Google user also, our microservice was able to authenticate successfully and able to call the this employee list. So that means we have successfully made it possible. Whatever we designed here, we are able to complete our development, implement it successfully. All this flow, third party flow, yeah, here only. This is what we have just done now. Calling the third party with the client ID, what we configured, it will give a token. This token we are sending back to the user authentication service, and from the user authentication service, after authorization, getting the token, and from that token we are called the microservices. Full flow we have implemented, and use JWT token to create the security for our microservice. So that's pretty much. So we covered all the topic required here for the security architecture, and let me rewind back. Anything I missed out here? All right, everything is perfect. Okay, So yeah, so that's all. So we are done our so with this we finish this, and next video I will come with some more better topic. So till then, bye, take care.